Hi, everyone, and welcome to another Blackfish member interview. Today we have Sue Tower and Jana Demartini, and we are continuing our conversations about the 30 by 30 show and just getting to know our members a little bit better. So without further ado, I will let Jana begin. Jana, can you tell us how you got connected with Blackfish and how long you've been a member? And tell us a little bit about what your experience has been like.
Well, I studied at Portland State after I was able to go back to school, after immigration and whatnot, having family. And Jim Hibbert, who was at the beginning of the Blackfish, was my professor. He taught me to printmaking. And he tried to lure me in, only I didn't have time. And then he left. And so I didn't get to join until 1991. But I've been a long time member now.
Time, yeah.
Yeah. So, I enjoyed uh, Blackfish. It was, uh, it's I call it my moral support,
Mhm.
especially when the hard times hit.
Yeah.
I even took Blackfish to Prague. We had 2 or 3 shows there in 1995. Cheryl, um, good. uh, it was a really big deal,
Yeah, major.
major, and typically, we tried to do it not too expensively because it can be very expensive.
Shipping all the work to Prague.
Yeah.
Work to send there, and I try to convince members to send work on paper.
Right.
No,
Life.
we sent practically a chimney. Was a big roll and a huge box. But it was 1995. It was in the still turmoil in the Czech Republic, at that time still Czechoslovakia. And so the authorities were not set in. It was still a chaos, which I had to utilize. Because speaking, being native, I spoke Czech very easily. So I was able to play the role, convince them that they gave us a break on the duty, the international duty,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
because we could have paid like $2,000-3,000.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Yeah, that
I
is.
spent practically 3 days in the airport. And this I find very funny. The person I was dealing with was a young guy, and he tried to help, and they didn't have the laws yet set. So we were there entered as the group of hand makers, something like that, which take care of the duties, dues,
Uh-huh.
and we paid like about $300
Oh, wow. Good for you.
instead of 3,000.
You have a new career as an importer now.
I said I will never do this again. Well, I was younger then too. I still had the energy.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Sue, were you a member of the gallery when that was happening? You seem to.
Yeah, I was. And I sent a life-size painting of Calamity Jane. And anyway, it had to be taken off the stretcher bars, I'm sure, and then rolled up. But they did it.
Yeah, yeah.
I just
There were about 10 people, 10 members who came also,
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
Oh, cool.
traveled to Prague. Yeah.
Great.
2 of them were instantly robbed.
Oh,
One was Sandy Rumagu. So, it was very exciting.
Very
yeah, it sure was. We had some nice write-ups in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
So
we
it's
still
really
have
good.
the flyer or poster in
Uh-huh.
Prague. It's must be
Yeah.
somewhere in the gallery. I have one in my studio.
Mhm.
Yeah,
awesome.
Great.
it was David's images we used. Yeah.
Great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell us more about your experience with Blackfish, how long you've been a member, and how you got connected?
Well, I've been a member since the mid 90s, but at the start of the year of 2000, I left because I got a new job and I had to work a lot of overtime. It was a really difficult job, but I retired 8 years later in 2008 and rejoined the gallery. Shortly after that, I had to get a group of paintings together, new paintings because I had to apply through the regular routine. And anyway, I really love Blackfish because it's a group of really beautiful, talented artists. And after I retired, and who are very dedicated to each other in the gallery. I love the dedication. It isn't very often we have openings. People are very personable and smart. And anyway, it's a pleasure to be a part of it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad to have you both. Why don't you both share about your piece that's being featured in our May virtual show going on 30 Works in 30 Days? Jana, you want to go first? It seems like I think you've got your piece right behind you.
I had it behind me and I was surprised. I thought it was in the gallery. I couldn't find it there. And then I saw that Greg used a different image. I said, why? Well, because my image was not there. So I found it in my studio. That's why it's behind me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's a piece from 2011. I had a show with Sandy Rumago, and all my work was prints. And because I can't print, the editioning was too hard for my shoulders, so I resorted to mono prints and monotypes, where you create just one image at a time, and then you can take it further. It changes then. So this piece was part of that show, which was called Intrusions. I am environmentalist sensitive. My work really has that environmental tint to it. I sent Kristin, I think, a little email that you can see. I was talking about that show, and it's on YouTube. I found it. So here and there, I listened to it to remind myself what I was doing at that time. So, it was part of just trying these small pieces, just trying what I can do in that fashion. So experimenting. So I was using dry point or plexi. That's why those lines, I can show it closer,
Oh, that's beautiful.
and then playing with colors.
I love the colors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I have two more of that sort. There are three, each is different. The second one looks plainer because the lines on plexi, when you press it down, it sort of gives in. It's too soft. It's not a metal. So the lines were just plain lines, not this fuzzy, and then I thought, okay, that looks too plain. So I started to play more around it. So I have some other things in that image. That's my third variation. And it is called Variations in Arrow. It's variation 1.
So if our viewers look on our YouTube channel, they'll be able to see a video with you more about it. It's what's been fun about doing these videos is, one, it preserves the history of Blackfish for sure. And we've unearthed our old YouTube channel and are finding all these great gems as we're posting these on our YouTube. So you'll be able to see this interview and more interviews and lots of great gems from the past on our YouTube channel.
That's good. But Blackfish has a YouTube channel now.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I just, because I'm new to the gallery, I had to go digging for the password, but we found it. And a few of the other new members were really interested in doing more video stuff. We've got a lot of videographers now as new members that have interest in creating video content for us.
Yeah, because we lost Mario.
Yeah.
So we didn't have. Yeah.
That's the great thing about being part of a co-op is that everybody's got different skills to share, and
that's right. And willing to share it.
Yeah. That's great. So Sue, tell us about your piece that's in the show.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm going to give you a little biography of when I first started painting seriously. I graduated from PNCA in 1982, and after graduating, it took me a couple years to come upon an idea for my painting. I wanted something unique, and anyway, it finally happened when I was looking at this postcard, Matisse's Red Room, and I thought, and there's an empty chair, and I thought it'd be fun to put Picasso in that chair. So anyway, I did a life-size painting of Picasso sitting in that chair, and then I continued to paint personage from the 20th century who I admired. Like I chose Albert Einstein to do his image on a painting from history that somehow represented him. So I juxtaposed him on Van Gogh's Starry Night. And I did Anne Frank. I juxtaposed her on Edward Munch's The Scream. So anyway, I did 20 of those life-sized paintings, and I made the stretcher bars and did everything. I don't know. I couldn't do that today, I don't think, that size. But anyway, when I completed that, I did a series of scenes of European architecture. I'd done quite a bit of traveling, and I would place an imaginary person in the scene. And an example is the Sun King, King Louis XIV. Yeah, ballet was discovered and created during his reign, and he did ballet. So I have a portrait of him dancing ballet in Versailles. And I did a can-can dancer in front of the Eiffel Tower. So that was fun. And then I went on to a new series, tracing women's hats throughout the 1700s to the present time. And then my last series, I felt I needed a whole new challenge, and way to stretch my brain. So I thought of abstract work. I've never had attempted it before. And anyway, Mist of Green, my painting for this show, fell into that phase. It came about because I was in a group show called with the theme of green. And anyway, that was my work for that show. And anyway, I really enjoy painting abstract, for I never know what I'm going to do, what's going to happen. And I like mistakes because then I have to work twice as hard to make it better. So I think it's kind of like an accident waiting to happen. So anyway, that's kind of what I've been going through over the years.
When you start an abstract painting, do you have an idea of what it looks like in your mind, or you just come to life as you put color on the paper? How does it work? What's your process like?
Yeah, it's kind of a jumble. I just started applying paint and certain colors and new methods or technique of how I apply the paint. Sometimes I just apply it right out of the tube of paint. And anyway, I usually don't have something in mind. I'm working more with color, and it just kind of grows on its own. And so, yeah, I could show you one piece here. Where is it? Oh, I just finished this one. This is more of an exercise. And I decided I needed to exercise to have better focus and concentration. So anyway, that's what that was all about. It's not a work that I'm really going to show or carry on from. So it was just more, focusing and working a little bit with design.
Anyway. So you use acrylics, right?
No,
oil.
Yeah, oil. I've always used oil. I would like to try acrylics, but I've used oil so long, it's hard to transition at this time.
Yeah, it is because I really don't use oils except with printmaking. It's, when my kids were little and they were trickling behind me and I didn't have really enough time, I was painting in between.
Right, me too.
So oils were very difficult to handle because either you have to continue or then you have to wait until it dries before you continue. That was, acrylics was my saving.
Yeah, it dries pretty fast today if you use Gil Kit. And but I used to put varnish and turpentine in the paint. That's the way I was taught at school. But I just got a lot of sore throats and sinus conditions and stuff. And so I just stopped putting, I was told by one of the members, like Bob DeZono and Michael Knudsen, they paint right out of the tube. They don't use those chemicals.
Right.
So that's what I've been doing. And yeah, it's so much healthier.
Yeah, but the way you were painting before, that was not possible to do straight from the tube.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I remember your Nureyev painting. I remember that painting Nureyev you did.
Oh, Nureyev.
Yeah.
Right. And Nijinsky.
And Nijinsky, that's right.
It was really a fun series because I read a lot of biographies and autobiographies of dancers in the early part of the 20th century when there was kind of a renaissance in dance going on at that time.
And you were dancing too, weren't you?
Huh?
Some dancing lessons?
Yeah, I took ballet for 23 years.
Oh, yeah.
Started in my 40s and quit when I was 65. Oh,
Well, I was dancing when I was young. I
were
loved
you?
dance. Yeah,
Oh, what
I loved
kind
it.
of dance?
Yeah.
What kind of dance?
It was more expressionist dance or folk
Oh,
dance. Yeah,
abstract. Yeah, yeah, great. Yeah, I love the music and the exercise.
yeah. But I really love dance.
Yeah.
Whenever I was able to go to, our um, White Bird here.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. They have great
yeah,
troops coming from all over the world.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, Jana, are you working on anything now? Can you tell us about
Well,
what?
after my last show, which was the watercolors called Discussions with Water, uh, I had a block.
Mm.
Suddenly, I thought, what am I doing? What else? And then the virus hit, and so it took me a while, and I was very unhappy, naturally, because um, if you can't do it, that sequestration looks twice bad. At least I had a garden, which is a lot of work. But then I thought, I had an idea, but then the idea is rather murky, dark, but cracking. I see the streets cracking, but I didn't know how to go about it, how to use it. So I said, okay, so let me go back to what I was doing, before, what I feel comfortable with, and continue on that. So I went back to this series.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
The stones, rocks from our beaches.
Uh-huh.
Oregon has very interesting beaches.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially around Newport, which is my way to go to. So I started that. And I made, in the meantime, I made about 4 new ones.
Cool.
Uh-huh.
But I still was, my passion was in that cracking. But I was hoping that by working, it can pick up. And I think it did. I've been experimenting because it's not easy. It's really difficult to do something like that, so
Right.
it's still alluring. that's my that's my take on when I want to talk about something. Because for me, art is communication.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
So when I want to communicate my take on the world, first I want to lure the viewer in, and they see. So this is what I'm trying to do, and it's a heck of a time. I have a heck of a time.
Mhm.
I hope that something will come of it.
I'm excited about to see.
Yeah.
I think just in general, this is a really interesting time for artists because this is really when artists go to work, when there's so much going on in the world. And we do need someone to um, communicate on our behalf. As artists are advocates for culture, for community, for change. And so I think right now, while the country is so frustrated or traumatized or all the things that
Everything is an upheaval. Yeah.
yeah, artists are really the ones that are at the forefront, luring, like you said, like luring people in with their imagery, with their stories,
Yeah.
their music, pulling people into the conversation. And so as much as I'm, like everybody else, uncomfortable with the uncertainty, I'm also really excited to see what art's going to come from this time. Find that it's always in these times that the most interesting and powerful and impactful art emerges.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see your cracks. I think it's
I will see.
interesting.
I'll
Yeah.
see. I'm just, but I am at it now. I am at it. It's my passion got caught. Because the other work, those rocks, I call my escapist art. That's my escape too. But the cracking, yeah. Plus, when you walk into our gallery, those cracks on the floor, they've been mesmerizing me for years. How to utilize those cracks.
Yeah, that reminds me of an artist, Paula Bay Overby. Some of her first works, she would go down to the basement and make compositions from the cement walls, because
Paula did?
Yeah.
She does a very, very interesting little.
Oh, she
yeah,
does.
yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Textures and shapes and yeah.
But yeah, they were really beautiful.
Oh,
And I couldn't believe it,
yeah.
off of a basement wall.
It reminds me of that famous quote. I'll probably butcher it, but it's like there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. I love that.
Oh, that's a nice way to say it, though.
Lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a positive way to look at crack.
Mhm.
I may incorporate it eventually.
I think it's roomy. I
Yeah.
yeah. I love that quote, and it's true. I feel that it's going to be an enlightening time with all the cracks in our society. I think we're going to have a lot of light coming in for sure.
I sure hope so.
Yeah,
We need something good come from this.
for sure.
Well, first the bad before it gets good.
Unfortunately, sometimes that's just the way in life how it works.
Uh-huh.
But more good. Sue, tell us about what you're bringing into the world. I'm sure that's more good.
Oh, well, now I'm on a new journey. I'm working on East Indian art. I'm been looking at a lot of it, and anyway, I'm so intrigued by it. They were amazing artists at that time, and their use of color and imagery. They were very modern, in fact. So anyway, I'm drawing from that, and I'm working on my 13th painting, so I've got
Already.
enough for my show.
Oh, awesome. And when's your show coming up? Well, we don't even have, things have been kind of,
yeah,
it's hard to say.
yeah, right. It's supposed to be near Christmas time, around that period of time. So I've got, about 6 or 8 months to go.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't shown for 3 years, so I'm really anxious to show.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to getting back to our normal schedule and having everybody being able to show the hard work that they've been working on over the years. And that's something also people may not know, is that, people wait 18 months at the minimum, 2 years, 3 years to have a show, and they're preparing a new body of work to show. And so I'm excited for us to get back on track so we can get to see all that work.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
The exhibition committee is meeting by Zoom this Sunday, because we'll have to have another possibility to count with, What if we do get open in June? Or not June probably, but July.
Yeah.
I think we will have to have another virtual show.
Yeah, we've been talking about that too with PR. And that's another cool thing that's so great about Blackfish, just the way everybody pitches in and problem solves and helping. I mean, because these shows get planned out so far in advance. For everything, overnight to be like, yeah, that's not going to happen, and we don't know how long. To have to pivot and be creative and think of something. But definitely what's been great about the 30 Works in 30 Days show is we have a new website. So, and we've been able to highlight everybody with the launch of the new site. So everybody coming to check out the new site, you know, is getting to see a little bit of everybody. And every day we get to highlight each of our artists, and these interviews are also part of that, just having being reintroduced to Blackfish artists, or if you're the first time stumbling upon us, getting to know us, and how unique we are. So I am so grateful for both of you taking the time today to participate. It's so good to see your faces and hear more about the history of how you got connected, because I'm so new. It's really fun for me too to hear, get to know everybody better and hear how everybody came upon Blackfish and how everybody's connected. It's been fun to these interviews have kind of come together quite randomly, you know, just between like what people's schedules are like. And so the pairings have been really cool. Like the other day I interviewed Edie, Christopher, and Paul, and without you know, really thinking about it, it's like they're all teachers, and so they all had this like commonality among them about so much a part of their art practices about is also about their teaching. So it kind of gave a cool theme to the whole interview, and it's fun that you guys have both been with the gallery for so long, and you've got so much perspective, and it's great to hear the stories and record them here so we can preserve that. Really, truly. I know that, you know, we were in hard times right now, but Blackfish has sustained itself for over 40 years, and I don't see that anyone stopping at all. I think we're a, you know, a icon in the Portland art scene, and so it's a privilege to be able to interview you both. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And everybody go to the Blackfish website, www.blackfish.com, and check out the 30 Works in 30 Days show. And you can also see more of Sue and Jana's work on our website.
Thank you.